Hello, everyone. Good afternoon from Singapore. Welcome to our Thursday event, 0 to 1. Another exciting milestone as well. As you might see on the screen, this is our 25th episode of doing 0 to 1. I suppose it's come a little bit faster now because we're doing 2 events a week as opposed to one. But it's still a proud milestone for us in this sense because when we wanted to start this series, we wanted to make sure that we could do it consistently for our members because we appreciate that those who are kind of doer circle want to have this opportunity to connect the community and find out and learn new skills and things like that as well. So we're really glad that we've hit that milestone. Of course, many more to come. We have a big long list of other great speakers covering lots of different topics coming on the horizon. So please do keep in touch on that as well. Some of our team will connect with you at some point on that as well. Yeah, we're really excited to keep bringing those to you. I see we really have someone with a hand up. Carl, do you want me to unmute you? Or do you have a question? Let me hang on. Just before we get started. Are you okay, Carl? Oh, okay, maybe an accidental hand up. No problem. Okay, I'll just take you off for now. Never mind. Anyway, so yeah, welcome everyone to this week's event. This event is called Solopreneur to AI-preneur, which is a pretty cool title if I say so. AI obviously a super important topic now. It's something that everybody is touching on in a different way. Some people look at it in a very positive way because it's opportunities, right? To do something different, to maybe do something faster, to free up your time to be more creative, for example. And it's also fair to say that some people look at it more from an existential point of view of, is this something which is going to replace a function that I do? Is this something that will make me obsolete as a human? And the reality is it's definitely somewhere in between. But we're really excited to have a founder on the call who has already been building an AI business, who has gone through some of that learning journey and is going to share more of his own experiences on that. And what we're going to do with this event today as well is, as opposed to having, sometimes we have like presentation slides, for example, and we go through that and then we have Q&A. We're going to do a little bit more of a fireside conversation, but we're going to touch on specifically the points that you would have seen maybe in the event flyer, which is around, why now is the right time to get started within the topic. We're going to look at the types of tools in your stack, your AI stack that you can use to get going with it now. Different ways that businesses, people could maybe start a business in this field. And then we'll also make sure that there's an open time for questions. And then I should also mention, if anybody does want to raise their hand and talk, you're very welcome to. Carl, I saw your note, no problem at all. But we want to have this as an open session. So please do feel free to interact how you feel comfortable. If you want to add it in the chat, or if you want to add it in the Q&A, you can do that as well. We very much welcome questions. But without further ado, maybe Aditya, if you just want to introduce a little bit about yourself first before we kind of get into the meat of the conversation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jamie, for hosting us today. Thanks, Yesas, for putting up this together. Like we just met like a week back, right? Or 2 weeks back. And this came out too fast. So if in case there are any gaps, please feel free, to ping me, Yesas, Jamie, for any, details, because everything was put up more like last minute and in few days. So quick background about me. I am Adi, founder and CEO of SuperU. We are a full stack voice AI agent platform. And we'll talk a lot about what does a voice AI agent means, what does a full stack means, what does a platform means, right? When it comes to AI agents or AI in general. There is, I think, a lot of noise, but there is a lot of opportunity as well, where people are feeling like, hey, like I've used ChatGPT. What else can I do with AI? How can I make money with AI, right? And how do I not get in this race behind in this race, which looks like it's gonna like take up 80% of the world or the business world at least, right? So, and we keep chattering about that, right? So we're gonna cover, I think, all these topics today. Some of it in my presentation, some of it will just like chatting with Yasas and Jamie here. We welcome anyone and everyone to just drop a message, right? So we can take their questions, right? So quick background about me. I'll also share my slide. Let me know if it's visible. Cool. So as we started, right? So just CEO and founder of SuperU, moved back to India because Asia is the hottest market when it comes to supply and demand globally. So I moved back from Bay Area to India to build my AI startup 3 years back. Before that, I used to lead Tesla's data and AI program. So I definitely have a lot of stories from Tesla and the learning, which I'm trying to put in my today's entrepreneurship journey. Before that, I used to lead data program for a company called Crown. It is world's largest forklift manufacturing company. Did my ML, data science, AI masters from Northeastern University, Boston. This is like 2014-16, right? So although we might be hearing about AI a lot these days, but it actually all started like 10 years back, right? So any technology journey, like there is a lot of like hoopla and discussions for quite long time, and then one day we feel like hey, it just happened in a day, right? Or it just happened in like last 1 year. So everyone thinks like AI became big after Chat GPT, but believe me or not, like people have been building on this for last 15 years, right? And people have been talking. So, and I was fortunate enough to be in that journey early enough to be able to make the best out of it today. So just talking about what voice AI means, right? So how you have Chat GPT, right? So Chat GPT, you could think about a generative platform where you wanna generate anything and it will generate. What voice AI means is think about like AI virtual assistant, which is live with you, right? And then you can basically ask her or him to do anything, right? And it just does not generate, but along with generation, it can also take actions, right? So one thing is like I'm asking like, hey, Jamie, can you get me water, right? And Jamie says yes, but just sits there, right? But the other part is I say, hey, Jamie, can you fetch me a glass of water? And Jamie says, okay. And then Jamie actually gets me that glass of water, right? So there is a generation part and there's an action part, right? What now AI is moving from a generative world to an agentic world, right? And that's where the real, making money or being able to do great things unlock, right? Because I can do great things with generation, but really if I have think about like 100 people team, uh, which just works for me 24/7, and I don't have to pay those 100 people, but just have to pay with them like credits and API, right? That's what agentic AI world means. So I'll just walk you through like a couple of voice AI use case quickly, and then I'll just like then we'll get into like little more broader use cases, right? And what are all the cool things you can do.
I'm a voice assistant for listing team. Are you calling about condominium at 4th Ave, San Francisco?
Yes, I am.
I can help answer questions and schedule a showing for you. Would you like to come see the property in person?
Yes.
To schedule your private showing, may I please have your full name, phone number, and email address?
All right. Please could you first tell me a bit about the house?
Certainly. This beautiful single family home comes with 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms with a modern kitchen, formal dining room, spacious living room with fireplace, lower level suite, and landscape backyard. The lot size is 3,200 square feet. Would you like to schedule a private showing to see it in person?
Yeah, sure, we can do that. So can you book it?
May I please have your full name, phone number, and email address to book the showing?
So
Yes, my name.
So like it's doing a lead generation while you don't realize, but it's actually and then it will go through a lead qualification process, and then it's gonna book a meeting. Then there'll be an interruption of the guy saying, like, hey, I'm not able to come that time. So it's basically a human sitting behind the scene without having a human.
George.
And
Hey,
then
I am Steph from Latch Chiropractic. How can I help you today?
a different use case.
Like, could you tell a bit more about why do I need chiropractic and how you can help? Of course, chiropractic care can be beneficial for a variety of reasons. At Latch Chiropractic, we focus on helping with pain relief, improving posture, and enhancing joint mobility, whether you're dealing with back pain, neck tension, or discomfort from daily activities. Our goal is to help you feel better and move more freely. We also work with athletes to improve physical performance and reduce injury risk. To get started, let's do Wednesday at 11. Great choice. What time on Wednesday would you prefer? We have availability from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Let's do 2:30 p.m.
Right, so it's able to understand the entirety of your schedule, say and then it's completely integrated with your calendar, right? So all of the decision making what a human would do, the AI agent is able to do for your behalf, right? But like I was trying to show two different use cases here, but where the opportunity has really unlocked now is you can build anything and everything, right, with this. And we will walk through a couple of like a quick ones, not like we'll not do like an entirety of 1 hour workshop, just a quick one to show like how does some of these workflows look like in today's world. Like most people, when we build some of these agents or people come on the platform, they're like, hey, can I use Morgan Freeman's voice, right? Or like, can I use my mother-in-law's voice, right? And it's like, yes, now you can like replicate anybody's voice in the way you want. You can create the flows the way your brand wants it to speak, right? And you don't have to worry about an employee leaving or being able to available at 2 in the night, because it works for you 24/7 essentially, right? So we'll go through one of the workflows like we have, right? So this is like one complicated workflow which we built for one of the clients. It can be some easy ones also, but I'll just show you like how like something like this comes out to be very like easy and not too complicated, right? So this is one of the workflows. So think about, hey, you have any website, right? And you want to create like a lead qualification on the website, right? So you say, this is somebody comes, fills in the form, says, I'm Adi, right? And I mean, you guys can also, I'll drop the link in the chat if possible. So you guys can, on the meanwhile, while we are speaking, can test it out, right? How I don't know if I can drop a chat here. Okay, yes, I can.
Yeah, you should be able to.
So
Just make sure you start to be.
anyone in like we should be able to test this out, right? So just do
There you
this.
go.
And then as soon as I do this, right, think about a lead qualification and you can start right away, but it can also call anyone after 5 minutes. So anybody comes to your website, fills a form and you call them in 5 minutes, right? People are amazed to say like how proactive you are about their business, right? Or about getting their business, right? And as soon as I click on call me now, I just received the call essentially, right? And then on my phone, I start receiving the call, right? You can take it to anywhere. It can take to book a call meeting, right? So as soon as that call is done, you start booking people on the meeting, right? And for this, you have 24/7 agent now working for you, essentially. So I'm gonna go back to the flow. Like this is that complicated flow which I'm just running through, but like it can be as simple as I want to have somebody who's just picking up the calls for me when I'm after work, right? So once you shut down after 6, then the voice AI agent picks the call, so it doesn't go into an IVR or a voicemail, essentially.
So question, Aditya, on that quickly. If you just go back one sec, are you saying then that people could do that themselves using particular AI tools in that sense? Is that what you mean?
Right. Well, let's go here, right? So this is like this is our platform, right? You saw the most complicated one, but something can be as easy as this, right? Now, what this flow means is like you put a contact. So let's say I have Jamie, right? So I just create a contact for Jamie,
Mm-hmm.
and this can all be automated with like your form as well, right?
Yeah.
And you put in Jamie's phone number, right? And I save. And as soon as I save, here it goes here, right? And Jamie gets a call right away, right? So it's that it can be as easy as this, and it can be as complicated as you saying, hey, don't call me from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. to 12 p.m., but only call me in the morning, right? And those makes the flow complicated. As soon as the call happens, you also see like, what the conversations happen, right? Because now it's an AI talking, so you would want to care about like what really happened on the call, right?
Yeah.
So, right. So you just go in here, and then you will be in the notes. You will be able to see, what like here, the entire conversation recording and the transcription of the call, essentially, if it makes sense, right? So, and
Yeah.
then AI will qualify the leads, right? How you are seeing, hey, call didn't get picked. These people are interested. These people asked to call back, right? These people are not interested, right? So now, like just this morning, I could qualify 250 people just sitting here, right? Without like worrying about anything. So just clicking here, right? So we kicked it off this morning. Out of 247 people, I got 4 qualified lead, right? While I was sitting on the call and just, on this like chat while not worrying about all this, if it makes
Yeah.
sense. Right? So, and some of it, Jamie, to your question, you don't have to worry because we have done all the heavy lifting, right? So you want to create one for like new patient intake. We have already created that flow, right? So you just go say like, hey, create agent, right? And that's where like the AI-preneurship concepts comes now, because earlier you were like doing for all of this work for each agency, right? But now with this, we have this entire platform where you can just take it and start selling, essentially, right, to your
Yeah.
customers, right? And if I just
Cool.
say like if there is an agency or a freelancer who's like, hey, I want to just use this template, start testing, and that's it. Like it takes care of for everything.
Thank you for calling Company Name Dental. Are you calling to schedule a new patient appointment?
Yes, can you please help me schedule for tomorrow 3 a.m.?
Sure, I'd be happy to help with that. What type of dental service do you need?
I'm looking for cleaning.
Got it, a cleaning. Do you have any specific dates or times that work best for you?
Yeah, tomorrow 3 a.m.
I apologize, but we don't have appointments available that early in the morning.
Right. So yeah, think about like you don't need like to be like, and this is just one of the use case, but we can leverage it for any use case essentially. And like we are like all the use case we are seeing with other people, we are just creating those entire workflow and putting it live so anybody can use it, right? So we need to keep learning and going through it. Yeah. So I mean,
Aditya, one question. I know we are demonstrating use of AI in many ways, but I had a bit of a broader question. A lot of people talk about job losses with AI kind of taking these kind of jobs, right? You're taking the job of the receptionist, you're taking the job of maybe a salesperson. Being an AI entrepreneur, what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you see people actually starting to use these, and it also impacts the workflows and operations, and then the jobs themselves?
yeah, and that's a great question, yes. Yes. So, how I see and what I have seen so far, right? So, I'll take an example of just this company today, right? Which I'm going through, right? So, this company is a large battery company in India, and they wanted to get to like every dealer in India, right? So yes, they wanted to do it, but they were not able to do it for last 2 years. Now with this, what happened is now they have an AI or set of AI agents who do the baseline working, right? So what happened here is 250 people was my cold leads, right? I did run the workflow. Now I have 4 people who are really interested. At this point, you will have like a sales expert, right? Who would now come in and say, oh, I only care about these 5 people, right? And I don't care about 250 people. So what will happen is a lot of people who are doing like grunt work, right? Just calling people at the call center, they would actually escalate themselves to become sales engineers, sales manager, sales analyst. The lady who was just sitting at the front desk and taking calls might actually now be able to assist the doctor more, right? Or be able to assist their dentistry more than actually just sitting and taking the call, right? Which is the most boring work for them. Yes, so there will be some impact, but there'll be better escalation. It's same as like, hey, there were 50 people in past who would just do typewriting, right? And then we had computers and copy paste work, right? Now typewriters work got better. Same as for like horse and drivers, right? We have multiple analogies of the world. World will change. There is no doubt about it. But the change is for good, and we are getting away from like the boring menial task and empowering the same set of people to do better things, right? So here that call guy will actually now start being a sales analyst. A person who was making $500 will start making $1,500 because all the $500 work was now done by the AI agent, essentially, right? So that's the thing we are actually seeing in the industry more. It's expanding the market, right? People who are interested on your product. So I'll show you one more thing, which is really interesting, right? So think about, you go to a Gucci store and the store doesn't have anyone to attend, right? You would go in, you have 3 questions. Hey, I want a leather-free product, right? Or a sustainable product, but there's no one to assist you, right? What will happen is you will come out, right? So somebody launched that business. With AI, so I'll show you here, right? Now this platform doesn't have any support today, correct? So what is actually happening? So this is one of our agents, right? I'll just show a quick one. Right, so it's getting started.
Hello, this is Neha from Prime. How may I assist you today?
Hey ma'am, can you help me with any healthy options on the website?
Could you please provide me with your phone number to get started?
Right, so it's doing call. Can you skip that step, please?
That's okay. I can help you with healthy options. I'll collect the details about the specific healthy products you're looking for. Could you please provide?
Just showing one of the examples, right? So think about, now there was no one to support that business. Now there's an AI agent which is doing it. And in the behind, there is a sales engineer who says like, hey, 100 people came, 5 people were really interested, were looking for this product. I'm going to go and call them now. Right? So actually it enabled a new set of jobs, right? Escalated people who are right now not able to get there, essentially. And there will be work which is impacted, definitely.
Sure. Thanks, Aditya. One other question I wanted to ask is about the entrepreneurial opportunities in AI space. Aditya, everyone's kind of starting to use Gen AI, ChatGPT, and whatnot, right? But then entrepreneurs like you are building AI-related products. Would it be possible for you to talk about some of the opportunities, AI-related opportunities that you see for entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, especially on the small end of the town, right? Not large companies moving into AI streams, but more for solopreneurs, freelancers, starting businesses. What opportunities, AI-related business opportunities do you see? The reason I ask that question is because we have lots of solopreneurs joining this call, people who want to start a business, looking at new ideas. Maybe you could also share some of your insights as to where opportunities lie in the future, near future.
Yeah, so I think what we are seeing, and there are early signs of this, how you, 15 years back, there was no digital marketing people, right? Or 20 years back, right? But with the advent of like Meta and Facebook, right? Now we see an entire world of digital marketers and digital marketing agencies, right? The same way we will start seeing a huge demand of AI agencies, right? So think about like we are a 10 people company today, right? We can't have like crazy $5 million agency, right? We can't hire that, right? So we'll start hiring, and people will start hiring AI agencies who will be like small teams of 5, 10 people. We'll have 1 or 2 people who are business experts. So you will maybe hire like an email marketing agency, right? But AI enabled, right? And there are like 5 people who will be able to get work of 20 people done for you. Like it will create automated templates, it will create automated personalized messages, right? And send emails. We will see same for voice AI, right? So we right now work with like 10, 15 agencies already. And most of these agencies make like $2,000 to $5,000 a month with voice AI agents, right? Now, this is something which has never happened in past because it's like this is happening for the first time, right? So people are like going and setting up a lot of these new age agencies. Like I recently like I'm working with this platform called Hypergrow, right? Which helps people make content and ads, like 30 seconds, 60 seconds ads and content with just prompts, right? And now we'll see a set of agencies which will just be great at like using a Hypergrow or a Alt Labs or Mid Journey. Uh, Actually, yeah. So I mean, there's like things happening in the image side content, video side content, email marketing, voice AI agent, and I am not seeing a lot of like existing big agencies getting into this space, but I'm seeing a lot of new people coming out of college, right? People who have worked for 2 to 3 years in this old age agencies coming out and saying, hey, I'm going to build an AI agency and start making $1 million a year, right? We'll serve like 10 customers, have a niche, have $10,000 ticket size per month from each of these customers. So like that's what I'm seeing more and more in the last 6 months. Yeah, and I think that's the future we are backing.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And I think, Aditya, what would be really great if we could just spend a minute or two on as well is obviously you've built an impressive business which is rooted in AI, but of course it also offers subsequent opportunities as well. So I guess it's, if you think about like some of our members, for example, are going to be early stage founders. They might be doing freelancing or solopreneur or something of that nature, but they have a curiosity or an interest in using AI tools. And maybe the extent they've gone is to make like a custom GPT, or not even that, right? They're just prompting things in that sense. So I guess the question is like, how does somebody potentially get started with it in that sense? Like, how would you have, or like, obviously there's not necessarily a blueprint to building SuperU, for example, but like, how do you go about doing it? Do you need to be a master's student of AI and machine learning like you are in that sense, or is it actually the case that people could maybe use certain tools to build their own either app or something like that, that can get them started?
Yeah, and that's a great question, Jamie. And trust me, guys, this is not like our promo. Jamie just asked this question naturally. So that's what you do, right? So there are like sets of AML AI engineers and platform companies who are really doing the heavy lifting of knowing ML AI, putting all the models together. So there's other like million people who can actually build products on top, right? So for example, I'll just show you one of the product showcase where like, one of the companies came and said like, hey, your tech stack is great. We want to create a quick translation platform, right, out of your stack, right? And how can I do it in a day? And like this was built in 3 days on our platform with like that person knowing nothing about AI, right? So let's say you are English speaker, but you have a team in like Mexico, right? And you want to be able to speak Spanish, or you do a lot of calls where the other person speaks a different language, but you don't understand their language, right? So they took our stack, knowing nothing about AI, and just build this cool thing. Right? So I'll just give a quick demo. Hey, how are you?
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Can you help me
No.
please set up a meeting for tomorrow?
¿Puedes ayudarme a programar una reunión para mañana?
Actually, I'm busy that time. Can you do it for Sunday?
En realidad, estoy ocupado a esa hora. ¿Puedes hacerlo por el domingo?
Right. So just showing like one of the showcase, but you can do so many things now without knowing anything about the like how MLAI works, how engineering works. You have all the toolkit, right? Like in our platform, and we support like all the developers as well. So if somebody wants to come up with a cool use case and say like, hey, we wanna build on it or we wanna build together, like we support those. That's one. If you're an agency who's like, hey, I wanna do zero effort, right? So if you have a zero effort, then you just go in here, like on our platform itself, right? You do a sign up. When you do a sign up, you land here, right? You can like start setting up your own agents, right? So you start with going to template. You pick one of the use case you want to pitch to your customer. Say like you want to do, lead qualification, right? For a real estate company, right? You test it here. You click on create agent, and it automatically will create agent for you in the backend. In the agent section, you will start seeing your agents, right? And then you just go and build the customer on a Stripe, anything what you feel like, suits your market. So it has become as easy as that now. Right? And
Awesome.
in behind the scene, you're all using is like other people's stack.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, that's a great example. I was racking my A-level Spanish brain. It sounded good though. I mean, it sounded very accurate in that sense. So that was pretty cool. I think that instant translation is certainly an exciting part of what AI can offer, because you just think obviously like being able to speak to somebody when you're traveling, whatever it might be, if you're able to do that instantly and understand. I know obviously people would have probably used like a Google Translate tool for many years in that sense, but it not quite the same. There's a delay, and obviously you're typing and you're standing in front of somebody. I think that almost seamlessness of it is pretty cool. So mindful that we've got quite a bit of questions in the both in the chat and also in the Q&A panel. So do please keep them coming in as they're coming as well. But maybe we'll just go to a couple of those questions, because I think it also nicely ties in with some of the topic points that we've put in the original event description as well. So the first question that came in said, how difficult is it to promote your own AI agent, since there seem to be so many and the competition is high? I guess, like, how can you stand out in that sense? Like what's your experience of that so far?
Yeah, so some of the ways to stand out is being vertical, right? So think about, there will be horizontal platforms like us, which go more horizontal, bring the best learning to you, to the agencies, to freelancers, right? So what we also do is any use case we see with other agents and partners, and we work with them and launch them on our platform, right? So anybody and everybody can use. For the agencies and freelancers or people who are building new, they should go more vertical, to say like have one landing page, for example, right? So I'll just walk you through while we speak, because I like to like have visuals. It helps people to just think about like one thing and not get lost. Right? So like, for example, this is just for like, spas and salons, right? So build like very niche vertical use case, and then do like either campaigns around it, do LinkedIn reach outs around it, do Reddit posting around it, right? And then reach out to your target audience. So I think that will help you get to.
Was there a screen share, by the way, Eddie? Sorry.
Oops, my bad.
I didn't see that bit. Yeah,
Sorry.
that's okay.
It should be better now. Is it good now?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. And I'll show two use cases actually while we speak, right? So, and both the use cases are like niched out use cases, which I think really works, right? So this is one use case which is very niche in real estate, right? Building like inside sales agent for real estate, right? So like pick a platform, pick a horizontal layer where you don't have to do a lot of tech work, but while you're marketing, go very niche, right? So the niche is like, hey, now you're talking only to a real estate manager or real estate broker / agent, right? Have a use case which works for them, right? Because what we have seen is, if I'm talking to ESS, I need to talking about his problem statements, his language, right? The kind of words he speaks, the kind of KPIs he wants to know, right? While I speak to like a spa or salon, I should be able to speak their language, right? Use their color tone and all of that, right? So it's important to go more vertical when we are trying to create that marketing or starting to market the product.
Thanks, Eddie. There's more questions coming in. So there was one in the chat. Might be a quick yes, no answer, I guess. Let me know what you think. So it says, can AI replace the teachers for the upcoming years?
Ooh, that's a good one. If it's a virtual teacher, I think it can already do that, right? Again, I think a replacement probably in a lot of sense might be like an overkill for today. What might really happen is when like so I love physics, right? Like being an engineer, I just love physics, right? And I would have 200, like teacher would teach me two concepts, but I would have 200 questions, right? Those 200 questions would always go unanswered, right? Because I need the answer right away, or else like that curiosity gets killed, right? So I think that those kind of parts will start being taken care by AI. And now teachers will get enabled to say like, hey, these are the 10,000 questions asked by my 100 students. So I should be talking about these five questions in my class, right? So I think that enablement will happen way more than actually replacements, at least in the next 5 years to 10 years. We don't know where the world will go post 10 years, but I think the first 5, 10 years will be actually a lot more enablement than replacements.
Yeah, almost like a co-pilot kind of point of view in that sense. And I read an article a little while ago from someone who'd worked at Anthropic, which is obviously the business that's built Claude, if anyone's used that system, for example. And they were saying that in particular, things like a preschool teacher, parents are still going to prefer their kids to have that connection with the human in that sense. So I think maybe we get to a point where it might be technically possible, but it might just not be a human preference to actually to do that as a thing. So I guess, yeah, time will tell.
And so quick question I think I have from my perspective, and I think couple of folks here to maybe Jamie to you and Yasas as well, right? So you guys leading Doer Circle, what are some of the use cases like you guys have, like we can put three buckets, right? Thought about that we're gonna do this with AI, tested with AI, and then implemented with AI, right? Maybe like three different buckets of saying, this we want to do, this we have tested, and this we already do.
So for Doer Circle,
Yeah, like for you, for your
yeah.
business, day to day.
Yeah. So I think both Yasas and I will probably use some Gen AI tools to help us maybe craft copy that we might use for emails. It might be that helps us kind of make sense of how we might target from an advertising point of view as well. We've used it to summarize things, like maybe if we're looking at partner contracts and things like that, it might help us summarize that kind of information. Something that we're looking at right now is building out an AI chatbot on the website that people can talk to, which is being trained on some of the more complicated services that we help members with. So maybe how to get your business off the ground, how to, what do you need to do from a tax compliance point of view? What do you need to do to start as a freelancer, that kind of thing. And so that's something which is not yet live, but will be live imminently. So it's certainly in the progress category. And then what you've shown us at the beginning, for example, in terms of those kinds of like voice sales/sales agents, that is something that we are thinking about because we have 150,000 members globally. So it's not physically possible for us to call every single one, have a conversation with every single one, as much as we'd love to do that. And so the reality is, if there's a way that we can talk to more of our members more regularly in the place they'd like to be, then of course, yeah, we'd definitely be interested. I don't know if any more from your side, yes, on that, like from an AI.
Not really. One other thing I came to know recently was an agent for prospecting. or to qualify leads. I think the one that you had from a voice point of view is also a qualifier or a qualifying agent. Also came across an agent that kind of goes into different websites and looks at potential leads and then cross-check against certain criteria that has been given by the sales team. And then based on that, the agent could give a short list of leads. And this is human in the loop kind of an agent where the leads list still comes to the sales team. And then the sales team would actually do the outreach. But then you could also do without the human being in the loop, meaning that short list then actually gets called uh, through the AI itself, so that humans are not involved as well. Obviously, we don't have it at the moment, but this is something that I came across recently, and it sounded cool as well, Aditya.
Nice. And I think as like you guys are trying testing some of it, right? Like I mean for the audience, right? Because I think once like you, I mean not everyone deals with like 1,150,000 customer base, right? So how easy, difficult for you guys is to set up like a customer support team? How big is that team? Maybe how many calls they take, or how many, calls per person can even take in a day, right? Like what are those like complications if any one of you deal with some of those things day to day?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a challenge that every business scaling has, right? We get email inbound contacts of people just saying, "Hey, I need help with this thing." Of course, obviously, there's the transactions that happen on the website when people are purchasing services or a membership or whatever it may be. So yes, I mean, we want to be as automated as possible, but we also want to make sure that we understand what it is that our members want more of, what they're frustrated with, how we can fix it. So yeah, I mean, we don't have a whole kind of customer service department. There's like a call center or something of that nature in that regard. I know other businesses might as well. And so yeah, like it's certainly an area that we're a test case, I suppose, or we can be a case study to say, look, we are using some of it right now. We could use more. I think maybe one of the challenges that we face is sometimes either awareness of whether there's a solution out there. Once there is an awareness of a solution, I would say from my point of view, and I think this would be shared amongst others on the call, but also probably by those who are also thinking about using more of these things, is what are the costs involved as well? Because I've seen one example of another AI sales agent, for example, and they're charging $1,000 a month for it. Now, that might be a bargain if you think about having a customer service team and salaries and the training costs and all those types of things. But it's still a company I've never heard of before that wants to suddenly say, "Hey, give me $1,000 and I can solve your problem," in that sense. So I think it's that there's a barrier there, obviously, that takes time to overcome. And that's where I think like even calls like this, for example, where we can get members involved and have them hear a little bit more about it. Um, you know, could they do it themselves? There's another question, right? Like if they felt they could do it themselves, then maybe the best outcome is to guide them to doing it. But if the reality is that they can't do it themselves, or it would take them a year to do it themselves, then again the cost of inaction comes into play then. So yeah, those are all things that we think about in business, and I'm sure other maybe entrepreneurial small, early stage businesses are also having that challenge.
No, and that's a great point, right? Like I always say, AI is like 20% product and 80% service, right? Like so there is an AI, but like how well Jamie uses it versus Adi uses it will make a world of difference, right?
Mm.
And I actually like while we are speaking, I have one more example, which I think probably will take like 1 minute. So like one of my friend has made like AI video. It's live. It's a company called Eureka Forbes, which is big one in India. And this is an entirely AI generated, but it's the skill of the person. So I just like something outside like what we do in the voice AI stack, but something what other people are doing, and that's like you're gonna see, like, I think we will all see like a wave and flurry of AI agencies who are doing some of this
Mm.
stuff. So I'll play this for like a minute.
Is there sound usually, by the way, Eddie? Or
Yeah, there's a sound. Are you guys not hearing the sound?
no, I can't anyway. Maybe yes, this can.
Let me see if I can easily. I think it should have a sound.
I mean, it's okay. I think we can see the visual of it.
But
I'm
you
just
should see
mindful.
the
Obviously, we
video,
don't.
right? Like
We've
there
only
is
got
no
about
music.
7 minutes left, right? So
It's just a background music.
I have a question on that though as well, by the way, which is related to this video, but also related to what you just mentioned. And I think it comes back to a little bit of what we spoke about near the beginning of the call, which is how, in that instance, that's an example, I guess, of I think somebody who's blending creativity, someone who understands, okay, like, there are if you're a film director, you understand concepts of filmmaking, of cinematography and everything like that. You understand those things, you understand direction, positioning, everything like that. So that's the creative side. But you could be a very creative person, but then you still also need to understand how to put that into a prompt in that regard. So I guess the question I have for you is, how does somebody get better at doing those kinds of prompts so that they can at least do more with AI, even if it doesn't mean having to have the nicest, shiniest tools? It's just, how do they maximize that from a prompt point of view? Is there anything? Is it a resource? Is it just a practice that you suggest, for example, or even a structure to it? Like maybe if you had your skeleton of a structure, and then you said, right, insert this and insert this and insert this, for example.
Yeah, and I think I'll take the example of this particular case, and then we can talk more like, I think, broader on that aspect, right? So this friend of mine started using AI tools an year back. In the first go when we did it an year back, it was like, hey, AI tools don't work, right? They're just good for demos, but in real life,
Mm,
nothing works as good as like having humans doing it, right? And earlier he would take, like, this would have costed 20 to $50,000, 1 month of time, and maybe a team of 5 people to put it. But like as the tools get better, as he got better with tools, right? So he has been building throughout the year, and this is like his probably 10th ad which he made with AI. But with like multiple iterations, he got better, right? So is
mm,
there a rule book or a playbook already? Probably no. uh, there are people who are expert, right, who are building these playbooks. So when we started Voice AI a year back, we were really bad. Like most of the calls might sound like an IVR call, right? But when you hear today, these feel like a real life AI calls, real life humans, right? Earlier they couldn't do anything, right? It would just be generational, but now it can take actions. It can book meetings, right? So I think tools are getting better, but people using those tools are also getting really better
mm,
and learning how to get good with those tools, right? So I think it's a mix of two. Are there courseworks already? Probably not, because I think like we are still in that early stages of people, like you're trying to adjust with a new girlfriend, right? Where she's getting to know about you, you are getting to know about her. There'll be a marriage which will happen in future, right? And then there'll be a playbook written about that marriage, and that will happen in like anything and everything what we see.
Great analogy. Aditya, I had a question when you spoke about an AI agent that's human-like. I guess the broader question is around trust, right? Like when I call a place for a certain booking, I like to speak to a human, right? Like when a human speaks, I feel that it is actually a real person, and I trust the person, whether it's the doctor, whether it's the airline, whether it's the airline agent or whatever, right? And with AI, can you create the same level of trust for your customers and stakeholders? I think in the voice space, maybe because you're an expert in that, maybe you can talk to us about building that trust and giving that feel of human-like experience. That's one question, and I can associate a question to that is, are you actually telling the customer that this is an AI agent, or are you actually not telling that, but behind the scenes it's actually AI? The second question, the larger question, I guess, is on the non-voice segment, uh, like Chat GPT, like tools which is used by people like me, I guess, mostly for various things. It's still a bit kind of non-human like. I mean, I use it all the time, but when I draft an email, it doesn't sound like me. Although I want it to get trained like me, it's still not there. So do you see that these tools are improving in a way that it can get closer to that particular human?
Right. So I think there is like, I mean, so we'll take both the questions, I think one by one. For the first question, right? Like voice AI, if I may, there is like two sides of it. There's a technical side, then there is a non-technical side, right? So we'll start with the technical side because I'm an engineer. So like the things, kind of things we added over the call or voice AI, right? So any call you can add like, noise to it, right? So when people, because see, as a human, you are used to hearing some kind of white noise, right? When you're talking to the agent, right? So we add that. Then you would want the humans to stop when they are interrupted, right? So we added those pieces, right? You would want them to be able to modulate, right? So it doesn't sound like a flat voice. Right? So those are more technical sides of the world, which platforms have already got good, and they're getting better every day, right? You can switch language, so it's not just talking in one language, but it can do multi-language because a lot of us come from, like, let's say, I mean, I'm an Indian, but I live in US, right? So I might throw some Hindi words here and there, right? Which voice agents are really good at. Maybe humans were not really that good at picking multilingual words, right? So you might be talking in English, but you could actually start talking in Hindi or Tamil or Telugu or Spanish, right? And it would still take, because a lot of like US southern borders are people who came from like Latin America and Mexico, right? That's more technical side. The non-technical side is, like we have an entire ecosystem of guardrailing it, right? So it only talks about my business and doesn't start talking about other business, all right? Or only talks about sales and marketing and doesn't talk about operations, right? So there are various ways and approaches of guardrailing, which is more business side, right? There is a side of data security and privacy, right? How do you deploy the voice agent to work in doer circles cloud, right? So it only has ability to keep the data internal and doesn't go and start talking about anything else, right? So that's more non-business data security, data privacy, guardrailing side of the world, right? And I think all of this coming together makes it more and more human, right? Think about like so one of the problem statement we deal a lot with large companies. So we work with companies like Tanishq and like some of the large retail companies in India, and they have issue with like, hey, I have this sales guy who left the company, but he took 10,000 people's contact, right? Which is a big data security privacy risk they had. Now with voice AI agent, that's gone, right? Because everything is logged into that voice AI and only your CISO and CIO have access to it, right? So they can't take away 10,000 people's phone number and leave the company, right? Which was a data security issue in past, right? So it's getting more human day by day, and it's able to solve the problems you were not able to solve in past as well. That's from the voice front. From, I think, non-voice front, like Chat GPT can be one, but as I think Jamie was saying, like Claude, for example, right, is sometimes way better off than Chat GPT in some of the creation and emails, right? Especially writing codes. Like I use a lot of Grok, right, for writing real life things, and I don't use Chat GPT because Grok is trained so much on real life people's tweet, whereas ChatGPT is trained a lot more on YouTube data and formal data, right? So it's used to putting formal, like if you want to create an NDA. I think ChatGPT will be way better. But if you want to write an email and a conversation, I think Grok will be way better, right? Because it's trained more on real life human data. Right? Now Reddit is coming up with their own platform slash LLM slash answers where you will see more human data in LLM essentially. Yeah, so I think we are getting there, and it's been only 2 years. Think about it. Like CRM has been there for last 25 years, right? And 25 years back, how CRMs were versus today, I think LLM 20 years later will be a lot different.
Hugely. Yeah, yeah, I fully agree with that. And actually, like what you just mentioned there was something that I don't know, maybe if you could just very quickly, if you just had your headline of things of like what tools would you recommend people use? So you mentioned Grok when it comes to, and just for everyone, if you're unaware on the call, Grok is through Twitter/X. It's their AI tool. So you can use it if you use Twitter or X, however you want to call it. I don't think I'll ever call it X, to be honest. Sorry, Mr. Musk. But you can talk to it that way, and it will give you answers in that sense. And then I know it was ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity. I use Perplexity for research, things like that. I find that really helpful from that side of it. Like the type of things I might do a Google search on, I would use that instead. So like what else would you recommend? Because there are tools specifically for coding, for example, I know of. There's obviously video now, VO3, and then there was, you mentioned Midjourney, things like that. Like, so if you were to kind of say, I don't know, maybe your top 5, top 10 tools that anybody could start to use now and test out, what would they be?
So, I mean, there's definitely a good mix. So, for like, if I have to start with like a video tool, I would say Runaway ML is a great one. VO3 is a good one. A hack for VO3, if you don't have like a VO3 access, you can sign up for Google Cloud. And under Google Cloud, you have VO3 preview access, right? So, we just found in last 2 days that we were able to use it as much. But if you just go and sign for VO3, you might not get access, right? So Google Cloud is a good way to, or a hack to start using VO3. For image generation, I think ChatGPT works good, right? But there are some, I think, new tools out in the market for that. One of the companies, or two companies I closely work with on video generation content is there's a company called Hypergrow and Alt Labs. Both are India based. So one does like a full stack video creation, one does like 30-second video segments. If you want to create your own AI avatar or want to use an AI avatar for like content, you should use a platform called HeyGen, HeyGen, right? Voice AI, you should use SuperU, right? So we are a full stack voice AI, anything, everything. As a developer, you get the API stack, right? And for non-developers, you have a UI from which you can do anything, everything. Right? Other than for coding, we use a lot of Vercel or VNot, right? So Vercel is a stack. We like our entire platform is
What cell did you say?
Vercel. So I'll say VNot. I'll type it down, right? So
Yeah, I think I'm just putting him in the chat just to make sure obviously people are aware of them, because obviously there's some fantastic suggestions, a couple I wasn't aware of as well.
yeah, Lovable is a
Oh,
big
Verso, sorry, yeah, okay, yeah.
Lovable is a big one when it comes to just the UI, but like if you're looking to build maybe like a full stack, I think Vercel works really well. I mean, I rely a lot of like search on Grok more than Perplexity. And whenever I'm trying to write human like something, I would probably go to Grok. One of the other hack I think I have, which is really helpful for me. So if you record like your sales calls, which I think we have all started doing, just record 10 sales call, get a transcript, go into ChatGPT and create like a maybe like a project, right? So once you're in a paid version, you can create project and say like, hey, you are my product marketing manager. Here are my 10 transcripts of my sales calls, and please generate product videos for me, create product documentations for me, right? And it's real life because like you're talking to the customers
Mm.
asking the right questions. you are asking, giving the right answers, right? And then like it doesn't hallucinate, right? It will only talk about things which you talk about your product, right? So that's one of the hacks which I do all the time with ChatGPT and Claude. So yeah.
Fantastic. That's honestly, that's a gold mine. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think because I think that's what it is, right? I think it's for some people that really are desperate to do more with it. They don't always necessarily know where to start. But I think there's some fantastic ideas in here for different use cases, right? Somebody might need to make a video. Somebody else might need to make an avatar of themselves, or as you said, write emails. I'll be honest, I haven't really used Grok from a point of view of writing emails. I've used it sometimes because I do use Twitter quite a lot. From a I sort of follow current news and sports and things like that on there, and I've seen it used very often now. But I think I'll definitely try it from a language point of view as well, because I think ultimately we all want to be able to communicate as best as possible to reach as many people. So yeah, some great suggestions there.
Awesome. Cool. I think that's pretty much from my end. If you guys have anything, happy to like get deeper on it. Else, like I mean, can drop my LinkedIn, can drop like super use links. So I think that becomes
Yeah,
helpful.
yeah, please do put them in the chat. Yeah, I think the great thing is obviously for those here on the call, but also watching later, is that we've got the recording of it, right? So people will be able to see a preview of what CPU has to offer. I think there's obviously some great use cases, and an enabler in a way of maybe very traditional business models as well, to kind of say, hey, look, as you said, real estate's probably one of the oldest industries there is out there, so it's a way to modernize that too, and use your resources. So thanks so much, Adi, for sharing that.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me here and representing some of the cool work my like folks at my company does. So
Great
thanks
stuff.
to you both and to our circle.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, well, thanks everyone for joining us this week. We'll hopefully see you on the next week's session. We've got some more fantastic content coming your way, and for those who are curious about the recording, that should be up as of tomorrow as well. So keep an eye out on the YouTube page. Cool. Thanks again, Eddie. Take care, everyone. Bye.